Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin in Nuri wa Ali. Inshallah, now Dr. Rizwan is going to give us the talk. So he is a Khatib of Islamic Center of Griffin. He has come all the way from Griffin to give us the talk. Inshallah, Dr. Rizwan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. نحمده ونصلي على رسول النبي الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قال الله تعالى في شأن حبيبي إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وآله وصحبه دائما أبدا صلاة وسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I was asked to kind of give a quick introduction to myself. I think some people here know me. Been in Griffin since I was 2. Finished high school there, went to Georgia Tech, did electrical engineering, was a member of the Yellow Jacket Flying Club. Of course, I haven't flown since a certain date, which I won't mention, for obvious reasons. And then went to Medical College of Georgia in Augusta, did my medical degree and then residency in internal medicine and then back to Griffin. As far as my, I guess, religious background, the foundation or the basis of my knowledge is through my father and his sheikh, Sayyid Aziz al-Awliya, Sayyid Muhammad Yusuf Ali Suleimani Tansi Rahmatullah alayh, from the Chishti Silsila, which goes through Imam Hassan Basri Rahmatullah alayh. And of course Sayyid Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmatullah alayhi, and then those who had teachers who were from the Naqshbandi Mujaddidi Silsila as well. So that should be enough of a background just to give you a perspective on my perspective. When you look at the Quran, the 6,666 verses of the Quran, every verse can be placed in one of 5 broad categories of knowledge, one or more of these categories of knowledge. One, of course, is Ilm al-Ahkam, which is the one that everyone talks about. The knowledge of the rules and regulations, the do's and the don'ts. If you look at the number of verses, Ilm al-Mukhasabah wal-Rad, which in reality comprises most of the Quran. And this is the knowledge of reasoning and debate. Most of the verses that address, the kuffar or Bani Israel or Ya Ayyuhan Nas deal with this. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us to think, to ponder, to reason. And then you have ilmul taskir bi'ala'illah, which is the knowledge of the favors of Allah. And the next one, ilmul taskir bi'ayyamillah, which is actually connected to the last one, which is the knowledge of the days of Allah. And I'm going to come back to this one. And then ilmul qiyamah wal akhirah, the knowledge of the end and the hereafter. You know, like every camel is the camel of Allah, yet he calls the camel of Salih alayhi salam Naqatullah, the camel of Allah. Every house is the house of Allah, but he calls the Kaaba Baytullah, the house of Allah, because of that connection. Naqatullah, because of the connection to Salih alayhi salam. Baytullah, because of the connection to Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam. And so there are days that are distinguished above other days. You know, Jummah in the week is distinguished. Why? Because it is the birth of Adam alayhi salam. You know, if you look in the hadith, this is the day that Adam alayhi salam was created. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distinguished Jummah. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, for whom Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam referred to as Tarjuman al-Quran. Allah's wrath descended, you know, upon those who opposed His lovers. And then those days upon which His mercy descended, upon those who sided with and favored His lovers. You know, and the interesting thing is that if you look at this, usually the days are the same. You know, on the day of Badr, Quraysh were punished. You know, 70 of the leaders of Quraysh were killed. On that same day, of course, the believers rejoiced in their victory. You know, so it's the same day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran in Surah Ibrahim, Surah number 14, verse 5, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد أرسلنا موسى بآيات وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا. You know, without a doubt, we sent our messenger, Musa, alayhi salam, with signs. Ayat, with signs. Every prophet who came with miracles. You know, if you look at throughout the history, you know, the prophets came to their people, announced who they were, and what did the people do? Give us proof. Everyone asked for proof. What did the messengers and the prophets do? They showed them miracles. You know, the interesting thing is that, you know, if you look at it, no one denied the doing of the prophet. Even Quraysh, even Abu Jahl, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did his miracles, he didn't deny Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it. He said, moon, what does Abu Jahl say? He said, oh, you know, his magic is even working in the heavens. The believers, what did they say? They saw the miracles, they acknowledged the miracles as the doing of the prophet. And they said what? They said this is the doing of the prophet through the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this prophet the authority to do these things. So every prophet came with signs, with miracles. And we're going to come back to this point, inshallah. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا أَنْ أَخْرِجْ قَوْمَكَ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. And here is tafsiri. It explains what the purpose of them coming with signs was. أَخْرِجْ قَوْمَكَ. Dhulumat is always plural. Darknesses is always darknesses. You know, there are many darknesses. Nur is always one. Allahu waliyul ladina amanu yukhrijuhum minadh dhulumati ila an-nur. وَالَّذِينَ كَفْرُوا أَوْلِيَاءُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ يُخْرِجُونَهُم مِّنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. You know, that Allah is the friend of the believers, that He takes them out of the darknesses and to the light. You know, and the disbelievers are the friend of the Taghut, of the Shayateen, who take them from the light to the darknesses. You know, so what is this light? And the real question isn't what is this light, the real question is who is this light, other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That coming to him takes you out of the darkness. And if you go away from him, then you go. So, purpose or no, keep it low. The initial instructions were to keep it close. So the purpose of every prophet is to take the people out of the darknesses and to the light. But the light is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, this will also be a point that we come back to, inshallah. وَذَكِّرْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ. The wa is parenthetical. So وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ, that how do you take them out of the darknesses to the light, is that you remind them of the days of Allah. And again, and before we go into anything else, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you except as a mercy to all of creation. Everything other than Allah is alam. So we sent you to alameen, to all that exists other than Allah. Where did He come from? Other than Allah. Because His creation was before anything else. You know, everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created His beloved, that He doesn't need anything except His Lord. And He created everything else for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So everything needs Him. Yeah. So that's why He's created first. Because without the mercy of Allah, nothing can exist. You know, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no coming and going. Allah is. You know, there's no place. That's why it's la makan. No place. But you know, here we're talking in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Musa alayhi salam, and he says, وَذَكِّرْهُمْ بَأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ. Remind them of the days of Allah. But the order is to Musa. So how does this connect to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Every prophet who came, there are three things that every prophet told their people about. Of course, the first being what? La ilaha illallah. I mean, every prophet. Of course, Rasulullah told us what they did not tell us, or what they did not tell their people, was that he is one-eyed. And that gets into something else. But the other thing that every prophet told their followers about, or the other one that every prophet told their followers about, was about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you read Surah Al Imran, verses 81 and 82, and because of time I'm not going to go into the verses, but this is Mithaq Anbiya. You know, the verse start off with وَإِذَا أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ. You know, Mithaq Anbiya. No prophet was given prophethood until he agreed to this. This is the agreement that they had to make in order to become prophets. And Rasulullah ﷺ is present, and then they are given prophethood. Of course, they fulfill this promise on the night of Miraj, when they follow him in Salah. But every prophet that came told their followers about Rasulullah ﷺ, either by signs or his character, you know, his characteristics, and some by name, such as Isa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in various places in the Quran. One place is Surah Baqarah, verse 146, where he says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم وإن فريق منهم ليكتمون الحق وهم يعلمون. A group of them hide it, even though they know. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention the people of the book here? The people that were given the book. You know, those who were not given the book, they could say, oh, we forgot. But for the people of the book, it's in their books. It's still in their books. You know, even if you read their books today, it's all in there. But they choose to hide it. You know, you read Songs of Solomon. The name of Rasulullah is in there. It says, my beloved is Muhammadim in the Hebrew. Of course, when they translate, they say altogether lovely. So no one even knows what it's talking about. You look at all of the prophecies about Rasulullah that are in their books. How are they in the books if their prophets or their messengers did not tell them? You know, so they all told them about Rasulullah. Coming back to the miracles, of course, you know, every prophet came with miracles. And when they showed the miracles, some people accepted them, some people denied them. You know, but every prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, At the time of their birth, there were miracles. Every prophet. Some of them he mentions in the Quran. You know, the birth of Yahya al-Islam, the Mawlid of Yahya al-Islam, he mentions in the Quran. The Mawlid of Isa al-Islam, he mentions in the Quran. You know, the Mawlid of Musa al-Islam, he mentions in the Quran. Ibrahim al-Islam and various other prophets. You know, the miracles that occurred at the time of the birth of the prophet are called irhas. This is the bunyad, this is the foundation. You know, because later on what happened was when they started doing the miracles, the people said, oh, you learned this is magic. But how can you say that for the one who came with the miracles at birth? How can you say that he learned this from somebody? Is to teach ourselves and our children, because this is the sunnah of the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a book written by a scholar from the subcontinent, Meelad-un-Nabi, Ad-Durr-al-Munadhin fi Meelad-un-Nabi al-Azam. And the reason I mention him is because the school that he was part of founding is one of those schools that said, oh, this is bid'ah. But in that book, he mentions the name of 140 companions of Rasulullah ﷺ who at the time of the birth of Rasulullah ﷺ would gather their children, gather their families, and tell them about the birth and the miracles at the time of the birth of Rasulullah ﷺ. Rasulullah ﷺ himself, when he was asked, why do you fast on Monday? And the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. Abu Qatada radhiyallahu anhu narrates, other than what they did, just like with Tarawih. Umar radhiyallahu took what was happening during the time of Rasulullah in small groups or individuals, and he made it collective. He made it with Jama'at. So Muzaffaruddin Gokburi, who was the brother-in-law of Salahuddin Ayyubi, who is mentioned by Ibn Kathir as Sa'id and an alim, what did he do? He took what the people were doing in small collective groups, and he took it to the national level. Because the foundation or the basis of it already existed, which is why it's not bid'ah. Or if you say it's bid'ah, then it's bid'ah hasana. And certain bid'ah is also wajib. You know, if you read the Quran, during the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, one is even the collection of the Quran itself is bid'ah. If you listen to the conversation between without the fatha, dhamma, and kasra, I have a hard time reading it, even though they know the language. You know, the diacritical marks were put in by who? Abu Aswad ad-Dawli, rahmatullahi alayhi, who was the student of Sayyidina Ali, karamallahu wajh. Which is why he's not given the credit for it. Everybody else mentions somebody else, but it was Abu Aswad ad-Dawli, rahmatullahi alayhi, who put these marks. These marks are wajib. Because without these marks, we can't read the Quran. But it's bid'ah. So when they would tell their children about the miracles, and again, you start off with the miracles at the time of the birth of Rasulullah ﷺ. You know, you listen, you know, what did his mother say, Bibi Amina? She said that she says she didn't even know she was pregnant, that she was expecting. Except that, you know, Rahman bin Auf radiallahu anha, she was there. Baraka or Ayman radiallahu anha, she was there. Thu'ayba, who was the slave of Abu Lahab, she was there. They all said that they saw Nur before they saw the body. And the mother, Bibi Amina, radiallahu anha, she says, I saw through the Nur, I saw the palaces of Sham. He was born circumcised. His umbilical cord was not connected. Because he is rahmatul lil alameen. He did not take anything from his mother. He gave to her. You know, even when you look at how he was raised in the house of Sadia Halima, radiallahu anha, you realize that she wasn't raising him, he was raising her. At the end of the Khilafah of Umar, you found count 14. Again, all of these signs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making an announcement to all of the world that His beloved has come. Now darkness is going to go away. All these darknesses are going away because the Nur has come. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ends the verse with inna fi dhalika laayatin likulli sabbarin shakur. You know, and in that is a sign for those who are patient and thankful. You know, the thankful part of it makes a lot of sense. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His beloved, which no one does. No one gives their beloved. This is something unique. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His beloved, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to from Allah. You know, the air is a favor. The food we eat is a favor. You know, where we live, everything is a favor from Allah. Yet He doesn't, you know, in Urdu we say, ahsan jatana. You know, He doesn't emphasize any favor, except for one favor. You know, when Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he built the Kaaba, with his son Ismail alayhi salam, after they finished building it, what did they say? The dua is in the Quran. Rabbana wab'ath fihim rasula. Oh Allah, send that you know, there's one thing to say a Rasul, but then you say a Rasula. Tanween, you know, for the Rasulun, you know, not just any Rasul. Even here when Ibrahim alayhi salam is making the dua, oh our Lord, send this Rasulah, this great Rasul, this Rasul who is the Rasul of the Rasuls. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers the dua, you know, there's more to this, but you know, time's getting long. People's stomachs are churning, you know, food is waiting. He says, لَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ. Laqad, for sure, without a doubt, man, you know, this favor, but it's not just any favor. Man is that favor which ends all favors. The favor beyond which there is no other favor. Beyond which all favors, you know, are pale in comparison. Laqad manna Allah. And so again, if Ayyamullah is the day in which Allah sends His favor, the greatest favor is Rasulullah Sallallahu himself. So the day that he came is greater than any other day. The day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him, because he is the greatest favor. And if he is the greatest favor, then the day that he came is greater than any other day. But he says, in this or in that are signs for those who are patient and thankful. You know, the thankfulness part makes sense, because we are thankful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his beloved to us. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But why sabr? You know, when you're eating biryani, there's biryani that's waiting. When you're eating biryani, you don't say, oh, I'm doing sabr. Or when you're eating halwa, you don't say, I'm doing. Because your stomach's turning over and you're waiting on the food. So yeah, you're doing sabr. But once you start eating, there's no sabr. So why the sabr? Because whenever a messenger came, there was always opposition. That is the way of the world. No messenger came without opposition. And the greater the messenger, the greater the opposition. And Rasulullah is the greatest of messengers. So he has the greatest opposition. And we see that. You know, it should be obvious to us. But those who remember the day of Allah, the people oppose that as well. Again, they label you as doing bid'ah. This is this and this is that, and you've done this and that. So you have to show patience. And you have to, and in when we start talking about Rasulullah, we could keep talking our lives. You know, from the beginning of humanity to the end of mankind, you know, if everybody's talked about him continuously, we still would not do justice to him. Yeah. He said to Abu Bakr, Rasulullah said to Abu Bakr, more or less, that no one knows my reality except my Lord. I mean, he's saying this to Abu Bakr Siddiq, who was with him from since childhood. You know, 2 years difference between the two. They were friends at childhood. Always together. Hijrah together. And yet to him he's saying that not even you know my reality. And to think that we can do justice. You know, this is Habibullah, and of course it's hard for us to understand. You know, we don't love anything in reality. You know, we're all selfish. You know, love demands sacrifice. You have to give up something. You have to give up your friends. You know, your family turns against you. I mean, you look at the companions of Rasulullah. What didn't they give up? And even they did not do haqq or justice to the status of Rasulullah. You know, the purpose of listening or reading about Rasulullah isn't simply, oh, you read it or you hear it and that's it. You know, we need to ponder. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ, that do you not ponder over the Quran? So we need to ponder over him. Think about him constantly. Send salawat upon him constantly. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Meelad-un Muhammad wa ala ali salli ala Sayyidina Meelad-un Muhammad wa barik sallallahu alayhi. I'm going to end here, inshallah. Yeah, it's again. Well. I'll draw a compromise. I'll do 15 more minutes, inshallah. Isa, Ruhullah. Ismail, Zabiullah. Ibrahim, Khalilullah. Musa, Kalimullah. And all these prophets and their positions. And Rasulullah ﷺ walks in and he sees them talking and he asks them, what are they saying? They say, Ya Rasulullah, we're talking, but we know these titles for all these other prophets, but what is yours? And he says that, Rasulullah ﷺ affirms what they said. That Musa ﷺ truly is Kalimullah. Ismail ﷺ truly is Zabiullah, and Ibrahim ﷺ is Khalilullah. He says, but I am Habibullah. Habib, again, it's hard for look at Maulana Rumi rahmatullahi alayhi. He says the definition of Habib, or the definition of lover, is that the lover sees no faults in his beloved. If the lover finds a fault in his beloved, then he is a liar in his statement of love. Hassan bin Thabit, radiallahu anhu, who is one of the poets of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did he say? وأحسنك ترقدت عيني وأحسن من ترقدت عيني وأجمل منك لم تلد النساء خلقت مبرأ من كل عيب كأنك قد خلقت كما تشاء جزاك الله خير. That my eye has not seen anything more beautiful than you. And no woman that you are created without any faults, without any shortcomings, perfection upon perfection. The perfect creator, Allah, creating the perfect creation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he emphasizes the point by saying that you were created as if the way you wanted to be created. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to you, okay, make yourself the way you want, are you going to have any faults? Is there going to be any knowledge that is hidden from you? Rasulullah sallallahu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him all the knowledge. We can go into this, but that gets to a long time. But he gave him all the knowledge, period. Anything that we can ask and think of, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already gave him. Is he going to be, if he allowed you, said, okay, make yourself the way you want to be made, then are you going to lack any authority? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with authority. When Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu was asked about the beauty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did she say? She said that if the friends of Zulaykha, you know, when Zulaykha tried to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam, you know, and then, you know, of course it became known what had happened. And the women of Misr, they started saying that, oh, you know, she's trying to seduce this slave. So what did she do? She invited them all to lunch. Gave them all some fruits and a knife. She had Yusuf alayhi salam behind a curtain. And when they started cutting their know it. They're so absorbed in the beauty of Yusuf alayhi salam that they're cutting their hands, they're bleeding, and they don't even know it. Bibi Aisha Siddiqa, she said that if the friends of Zulaykha had seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the place of Yusuf alayhi salam, they would have cut their hearts instead of their hands. Yusuf alayhi salam was given half the beauty of the universe. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the beauty of the universe. All beauty extends from him. So if Rasulullah ﷺ is Habibullah, then everything connected to him is loved by Allah. You know, the lover, he does not distinguish, you know, between his beloved and the one that his beloved loves. The true love. Tabut Sakina. In English we call it the Ark of the Covenant. This is the box in which the relics of Musa al-Islam and Harun al-Islam, and we know that the shoes of Musa, blessed shoes of Musa al-Islam are in it, and you know, the staff of Musa al-Islam and various other relics. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not draw attention to that. He says that within it are some of the relics of the family Alu Musa wa Alu Harun. The family of Musa and the family of Harun. Why? Because of the connection, the nisbah. So and what would happen? You know, again, you know, read the Quran. But read the Quran understanding that this is a conversation between Allah and His beloved. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then through him to the rest of us. When Jalut took it, he disrespected it, and what happens? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed 6 of his major cities. And that's why he got rid of it. He said, oh, get this away. My time's almost up, so I'm not going to go into the details. But read Surah Baqarah. It's in there. Verses starting around verse 1, around 240 on. 248 is where he specifically mentions the Tabut and Sakina. This box that gives you tranquility and peace. But again, because of the relics that were connected to 2 of those that he loved, Musa al-Islam and Harun al-Islam. So those things that are connected to Rasulullah and those things that are from Rasulullah doing the ziyarah of the blessed hair of Rasulullah and then of course, again, the same thing, there are other people who oppose this and create issues with this. And yet, if you, again, you read the Quran, it's in there. If you read the Hadith, in Bukhari and Muslim, the shirt of Rasulullah who kept it after him? Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha. And then after her, who took it? Her sister, Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu anha. What would they do? Somebody was sick in Medina Munawwara, they would come to them, bring water, and she would pour it on the shirt and then drench the water, and they would drink the water, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give them shifa. Bibi Salma radiallahu anha, she had a little vessel, same thing, people would get sick, they would bring water, she would pour it in there and then pour it out, and they would drink it. They're there. The problem is we don't know, and we don't ponder. Because even if I didn't know this, simply knowing that it's connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it should be enough. Anything connected to the beloved is beloved, period. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my time is up. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help us understand, fill our hearts with His true love, the true love of His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and all of those whom they love, inshallah. Inshallah we'll make salam and then dua and then eat.